Hi guys, this is Miss Castle here, and I am recording your lesson on factoring trinomials when a is greater than 1, so that you guys can keep going with your content here. Now, I know that Mr. Murray is out, so if you have any questions on anything from these notes, you will have a classwork after this, and then you will have a homework assignment. So if you have questions on any of those assignments, please feel free to see me. I can help you with them. I'm in room 107. Feel free to see me either after school, during advisory. On BD days, I am free block 4, and on AC days, I am free block 3 and 4. All right, let's get going. So let's start with some review here. I want you to multiply the following polynomials. And we know that we do that by using the box method. You want to use the box anytime you're multiplying something that's bigger than a monomial, one term, times a monomial, one term. Okay? So I have 3x minus 8, and I have x minus 2. So you guys know how to do this. X times 3x is 3x squared. X times negative 8 is negative 8x. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. And negative 2 times negative 8 is a positive 16. So then you guys know that you combine your like terms, so your final answer is 3x squared minus 14x plus 16. That shouldn't be too hard for you guys. That should be review. Now let's look at B. Same thing. It's a binomial times a binomial, so we use the box method. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a box here. 4x plus 3, 2x minus 7. And let's go ahead and multiply. Well, 2x times 4x is an 8x squared. 3 times 2x, 6x. Negative 7 times 4x is negative 28x. And negative 7 times 3 is a negative 21. So go ahead and combine your like terms, and you get 8x squared minus, sorry about that, minus 22x minus 21. If at any time you're confused or I'm going too fast for you, feel free to stop the video and write down the notes. Okay? So why did we do that? Why did we do the box method? You guys know the box method. Well, here we go. We're going to factor things when a is greater than 1. So when the number in the front is bigger than a 1. So we're going to take something like this and factor it into something like that. And we're going to use the method called slide and divide to do this. I'm not sure what method you guys used last year. I believe it was the slide and divide method, but I think this method is really easy once you guys get it, and I think it works really well. So let's show you what to do. So here we have factor each of the following polynomials. So we look at the number in the front and say, okay, that's not a 1. What do I do? So let's go. This is called the slide and divide method. First thing you want to do is slide. So you want to take the number in the front and multiply it by the number at the end. So when I do that, I get x squared plus 13x plus 30. And now we just factor that, which is really easy. That's the old factoring method. So you do your 2 sets of parentheses. Each of them get an x because it's x squared. And now we're looking for 2 numbers that will add to 13, multiply to 30. And those numbers are positive 3, positive 10. So we did our slide. Now you have to do your divide. So now you divide by the number in the front. So at first, I slide it, and then I divide it. So you look at each of the fractions now and say, can I simplify them? Well, 3 divided by 2 cannot be simplified, but 10 divided by 2 can. So I have x plus 3 over 2, x plus 5. And we don't like fractions. So when you're left with a fraction like that, you actually want to take the number and swing it to the front. So 2x plus 3, x plus 5. And that is my final answer. Let's do a few examples of this. I promise it gets easier. The only part that I've noticed students forget is the divide part. You have to remember to divide, slide and divide. And again, you only use this when it's an x squared. Or I'm sorry, when the number in front of x squared is bigger than 1. Okay? Let's try another example. And again, if you need a second, pause the video and copy down the notes. So we look at the number in front of the x squared and say, that's greater than 1. So I have to do the slide and divide method. So I'm going to take the number in the front and slide it to the number in the end. So I'm left with x squared minus x minus 12. Now this becomes easy factoring. I'm looking for things that add to negative 1, multiply to negative 12. So 2 sets of parentheses, each get an x because it's an x squared. And I know that my numbers are going to be negative 4, positive 3. Now don't stop there. You did the slide. Now let's do the divide. So divide by the number that was in the front. And you look at the fractions and say, hey, can I simplify these anymore? And I actually can't simplify 4/3 anymore, so I'm going to leave it as 4/3. Ooh, but I can simplify 3 divided by 3, which is 1. And again, we don't like fractions. So if you're left with a fraction, just swing that number up to the front. And your answer is 3x minus 4 and x plus 1. Okay? Try number 3. And I am going to erase this blue writing here just because I don't have any space. That went to number 1. Hopefully you guys have that down at this point. If not, rewind the video and get that problem. Okay? So again, we look at the number in front of x squared and say, that's not just an x squared. So I need to do slide and divide. So I'm going to take my 4 and slide it. So I get x squared plus 8x plus 12. So I'm looking for two numbers now that will add to 8, multiply to 12. Okay? Well, I know that's 6 and 2. So I did my slide, and now I have to do my divide. So you divide by the number that's in the front, which was a 4. Now we look at our fractions and say, can my fractions be simplified? And in this case, they can. 6 divided by 4 can be reduced or simplified to 3 over 2 because 6 and 4 can both be divided by 2. Here, can 2 and 4 be simplified? And the answer is yes. That will become 1/2. But when looking at the fractions, you can't divide anything to get like a perfect number. Like 5 divided by 5 would give me a 1. So in this case, remember, just swing your bottoms up like that. So 2x plus 3, 2x plus 1 is my answer for number 3. Okay? Let's do a few more, and I do want to do some of the problems on the back with you guys because those are a little bit trickier. So again, I'm going to erase this. That went to number 2. Let's move this out of the way. So we do our slide So we get x squared minus 13x minus 30. And we factor this. We know each of them will get an x. Now we're looking for two numbers that will add to negative 13 and multiply to 30. And I know all of you guys are probably thinking, let's jump to negative 3 and negative 10. Well, that is true that negative 3 and negative 10 does equal, when you add them, negative 13. But it's not true that negative 3 times negative 10 gives me a negative 30. So those are actually not your answers. Okay? So the two numbers that will add to negative 13 multiplied to 30 are negative 15, positive 2. So always make sure it has to add to the middle, multiply to the end. Okay, so I did my slide. Now let's do our divide. Divide by the number in the front, divide by the number in the front. And we look at our numbers and say, 15 divided by 5, that gives me a nice number. Well, 2 divided by 5 can actually not be simplified anymore. So it's just going to become 5x plus 2. Swing that bottom number up, unless it can be simplified like that factor there. Okay. Number 5. Okay, I'm going to erase this. Rewind the video if you need some of the information that I am erasing. Again, the number in front of the x squared is a 3. So we need to do slide and divide. So slide. So now we factor. X. We're looking for two numbers that will add to negative 2, multiply to negative 24. And that will actually be a negative 6, positive 4. Okay, divide by the number in the front, which was a 3. So I did my slide, do your divide. Well, 6 divided by 3 is 2. And 4 and 3 cannot reduce anymore, so we just bring that 3 up. Bring the bottom number up. There is my answer. Let's skip 6 for now, and let's jump to the back because those problems are a little bit trickier, and I want to make sure we do a few of them together before you go off and do your classwork. So the classwork is going to be a review of some Regents questions, and then also factoring. And it's going to be a mix of slide and divide, and it's going to be some of the x squared problems. Okay. So here, now I have something to the 4th. Not a big deal at all. We continue on like we normally would. So I say, well, the number in front is not a 1, so I know I have to do slide and divide. So I take my 6 and I slide it. So I have x to the 4th plus 5x squared minus 36. So now I'm looking for two numbers that will add to 5, multiply to negative 36. And I know that each of them are going to be an x squared because it's an x to the 4th. So I know each of them are going to get 2 x's. So my numbers, add to 5, multiply to negative 36. That's going to be a positive 9 and a negative 4. Okay. So I did my slide. Now let's do our divide. We need to divide by the number that was in the front. We simplify the fractions if we can. Well, I know that 9 over 6 can be reduced to 3 over 2. And I know that 4 over 6 can be reduced to 2 over 3. But 3 over 2 and 2 over 3 are not going to divide to give me perfect whole numbers. So what do? I just swing the numbers to the front. So 2x squared plus 3, 3x squared minus 2, and that is our answer. And remember, to check yourself, you could always do the box method on your two factors here to see if I multiply them, will it bring me back to what I started with? Always, always, always. So that's what the great thing about factoring is that you can always check yourself. Okay. Let's skip 8 for now. And let's jump to, let me just look here. Number 9. We'll only do a few more. We'll skip a few of them, and you will have a chance to practice these in your classwork. So, number 9. Slide. So I get x to the 10th plus 7x to the 5th minus 120. Now 120, that's a big number, but you guys know how to do that. So we're looking for things that will add to 7, multiply to negative 120. And if you want to try this on your own, you can pause this video now and try to see if you can figure out the numbers by yourself. Okay. So I do my, I have 10, so each of them are going to get 5. And two numbers that will multiply to negative 120, add to 7 is 15 and 8. All right, now we got to do our divide part. So it doesn't really change, even if it's an x to the 10th, x to the 20th, it doesn't really change the whole slide and divide thing. So I'm going to divide by 6 and 6. Now let's reduce my fractions. Well, I know that 15 and 6 can both be divided by 3. So I'm going to get 5 over 2. And I know 8 and 6 can both be divided by 2. So I'm going to get 4 over 3. Now, unfortunately, 5 over 2 and 4 over 3 cannot divide to give me a perfect whole number. So your answer just becomes 2x to the 5th plus 5, 3x to the 5th, that's a 5, minus 4. Those are your answers. So we circle or box them, and we can check ourselves using the box method. Okay. And let's try a few more here. Let's try, which ones do I want to try with you guys? Let's try 12. And we'll call that the last one. Okay? So number 12, slide and divide. Take your number in the front, slide it to the number at the end there. So I get x squared minus 29x plus 120. Now, again, those are really big numbers, 120 and 29. Those are really big numbers, but nothing you guys can't do. Right? You can just use your calculator to figure out what numbers can add to negative 29 multiplied by 120. So it's an x. And again, if you want to figure this out on your own, pause this video now, and you can try this problem on your own, and then you can turn the video on to check yourself. Okay? So the numbers that actually work are negative 24, negative 5. So then we divide by the number in the front, which was a 20. Okay, Not any harder. Let's simplify the fractions here. So when I simplify 24 over 20, I get 6 over 5 because they both can be divided by 4. And when I simplify 5 over 20, I get 1 over 4. And, well, we know 6 over 5 won't give me a positive, perfect, I guess it doesn't need to be positive, but a perfect whole number. 1/4, again, does not give me a perfect whole number. So we just swing them to the front, swing them to the front. 5x minus 6, 4x minus 1. Those are my answers. So I'm going to stop the video there. I think we're at, oh, where's my little thing here? We are at about 21 minutes. So at this point, what I'm going to have you guys do is work on the classwork. Just some tips and hints for the classwork. Number 2 is going to ask you guys to write a linear regression equation. Remember to put that data in your calculator, run a statistic, and then we want to use the linear regression equation. That's mx plus b. We never use the a plus bx one, okay? The first one has to do with inequalities, and the back is all factoring. I did leave the sub with a key to the classwork, so you can check yourself. And the homework is going to be also on factoring, and I believe if I had it correctly, it's a mix of the old factoring and the new slide and divide method. Again, if you need any help with your classwork or any help with your homework, please come see me. My name is Miss Castle. I am in room 107, and I would be willing to help you guys with whatever you need. All right, have a great day.